All right, good morning, traders. Today is January 22nd, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. That'd be the day trading service for the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. I want to thank everybody out there, podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for following, liking, and subscribing to my content. Thank you for everybody that shares my content. Special shout out, Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy Sarah Roasted. Thank you for sharing the content, helping get the word out there to the rest of the world, the World Wide Web. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning, and let's see what we got. Okay, before I get started, got an announcement. Okay, today at noon, member e-learning on option basics, calls, puts, basic strategies, all right? Starts off at noon. If you don't see me here in the room, I'll be in the combo room. How to get to the combo room is... Okay, come up here. You come over to your membership page, all right? And... anyways, it's right next to it's right next to your membership page. It says Combo Room Login right there. So, for some reason, mine's not working quite yet. Let's try it one more time. One more time. Here we go. One more time. Yep. Okay. So one more time. Come over to your membership page, and this is the Combo Room. You just log in right here. Press this button. The videos are located. These are all of the e-learning replays. And right underneath resources, e-learning replays. Again, there's about 10 videos on each page. And on the e-learning replay, we've got 34 pages of 10. So that's 340 videos. Up here at the top, if that's not enough videos, we've got public webinars recorded. Okay, it's another 10 on each page there, and we've got probably 20 pages of those. So there's another 200 videos right there. So plenty of content for learning right there, provided by the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. All right, let's take a look at the markets this morning. Before we take a look, my SPY pivot is 683.40 above, and I'm a bull, below, and I'm a bear. IWM and GLD made new all-time highs. Diamond Dow made a higher high, higher low, closing inside a bearish trap over the 17. QQQ, SPY, higher low, higher highs, closing inside bearish traps under their 17 EMAs. SPY closed with 2-hour downtrend, 10-minute bullish consolidation. FNGU made lower low, lower high, closing under a bearish trap under the falling 17. Silver made a lower low and a lower high, closing over a bullish trap over the rising 17. USO in a daily uptrend made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. UNG, higher high, higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. US dollar index in a daily uptrend, closed near the 98.88. SPY Max Pain 684 with a put to call ratio of about 0.9 puts for each call. That expires today at 4:15. Remember, those security options expire at 4. Index options expire at 4:15. This is your first time seeing these. These are all in bullish daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are all in bearish daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they have a star, they're building out a launch pad or a bull flag from which to launch higher. If they have a star over here, they're building out a platform or a bear flag from which to dive lower. Let's take a look at the markets. All right, let's take a look at, you know what I want to look at? I want to look at clean chart. All right, I want to look at SPY on the 10-minute. So 10-minute, you can see bullish consolidation, price rising up over the pivot. I pretty much call this bearish right here, but we're back up here, and we're up over the VWAP line. So pull back to minor support, which would be the top right there. That'd be minor support, consolidating right there at minor support. Look for this to rip higher this morning. That would be a J hook pattern, okay, where price goes up and then J hooks up out of there. We'll see what happens. 10-minute chart, bullish consolidation on the 10-minute chart. 2-hour chart, we have 2-hour downtrend right here. It looks like it's going to get closed out. See, the 3 is going to pinch off the 8 EMA right here. Okay, let me give you the lay of the land here. Okay, if you see the pink line, okay, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP on these pages. 3 EMA, that's the thin yellow line. Okay, on the VWAP, VWAP is the gold line or the burnt orange. All right, and then the dots are the 17 EMA. All right, they'll be red if price is below it, green if price is above it. Okay, so that's the lay of the land right there. So pink line, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP most of the time right there. So there's SPY on the 2-hour. Still got a 2-hour downtrend. On the daily chart, here's our daily chart. Higher low, higher high, closing inside a bullish trap. So that's between the 3 and the 8. But under, see the dots, but under the 17 EMA. Still at the top of quadrant 4, but in a daily downtrend, because here's a low, they made a lower low, they have to now make a higher high in order to negate the downtrend. So price action in a downtrend, but bullish here at the top of quadrant 4. Again, here's our April low. There's our market high, all-time high right up here, about 5 days ago. Okay, so right there, price, all right, is bullish because it's in the upper third of the quad lines. Okay, so this would be the lower third right here, below the crosshairs. Okay, below the crosshairs would be the lower third. Upper third would be above the crosshairs, right about there. Okay, so we're in a quadrant 4, so we're bullish. All right, but in a downtrend because we made, here's a low that comes below the 17. We made a lower low. Okay, so we're in a downtrend. All right, so there's SPY. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Weekly chart, we're still bullish and in an uptrend. And on the monthly chart, we're still bullish and in an uptrend. See all the green dots right there. All right, let's take a look at the game plan. And we'll look at that right here. Okay, so game plan this morning. All right, we got green erases red entry over 688.70. Pivot 683.40. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green entry below 678.10. That'd be low of day yesterday. Down there. So there's SPY. All right, I trade 2 days and 9 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest. All right. I like the tight liquidity. I like a lot of open interest, and I like a lot of liquidity in the option that I choose. And for that, I choose the Friday options most of the time, and the multiple of 5 because got more liquidity there, and that usually equates to a tighter bid-ask spread and a whole lot less slippage. I like strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. Again, I'm not opposed to trading in the money. It's just I choose to trade out of the money. They tend to have less performance than an in-the-money option. But let me just say that I'm not going to have as much risk, all right, as somebody with in-the-money options, okay? So you have in the money options, you're going to pay up for that, but again, they will perform much better. As far as the options, I'm not opposed to trading 0 DTEs. I actually do trade them right here in the room, but starting out, sometimes I just like to have 2 and 9 day till expiration Friday options. Just have a little bit more time for that option to work out when price is moving slow. All right, so there's SPY game plan for today. QQQ's got a game plan. Let's take a peek at that one. Okay, QQQ got green erases red over 620.45. Pivot 613.20. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green underneath 608.25. Same thing on QQQ, okay? I like the 2 and the 9 days till expiration Friday options on the multiple of 5. I like the $2 and the $15, $2 to $15 options that are out of the money. Both SPY and QQQ, I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, and I trade 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All right, so I like both of those. Now, if a 10-minute uptrend were to manifest down here, I'm not opposed to trading it to the upside. All right, I just like to see it break the bullish rubber band candle. And if a 10-minute downtrend were to manifest up here, long before the red erases green, I'm not opposed to trading it to the downside as long as it breaks the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. All right, let's take a look at QQQ on the 10-minute chart. And we'll pick up this one right here. Again, same as SPY, we've got bullish consolidation up over VWAP and up over the pivot and pretty much over that all-time high. No, over an anchored VWAP, not the all-time by anchored VWAP though. All right, so there's QQQ on the 10-minute chart. Let's go see where that thing is. Yeah, it's up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the 10-minute chart. Just under it right there. We're over it right now. All right, so let's take a look at 2 hour. 2 hour, we still got, let me just make sure. All right, there's the 3, 613.67, the 8, 613.69. So we closed with a bearish downtrend, not by much. They're about to pinch that off, and you can see they got a good hold on it right now. So there's QQQ on the 2 hour chart. So bearish downtrend on the 2 hour. On the 10-minute, we've got bullish consolidation up over minor support right there and up over VWAP. So there's 10-minute chart. Not an uptrend, but bullish consolidation. There's QQQ. We'll see where it wants to go with that. This morning, okay, on the daily candle, higher low, higher high, closing in a bearish trap under the flat 17. They made a lower low, so they're in a downtrend. Here's the April low, but bullish up here at the top of quadrant 4. So that's QQQ. Weekly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at IWM. Look at this on the daily chart. Okay, you can see new all-time high. So here's our April low. Okay, new all-time high. That's bullish and in an uptrend on IWM. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, higher low, higher high, closing inside a bearish trap over the rising 17 EMA. Top of quadrant 4. That's still bullish, still in an uptrend on Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at Stinker. Stinker makes a lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap, under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Stinker is neutral and in a downtrend on Stinker, this FNGU. All right, let's take a look at GLD. Here's gold. New all-time high, drop the mic, doesn't get any better than that. Here's our 2022 low. That's the origin of the move. Okay, so that's bullish in a daily uptrend. Okay, so that's gold, new all-time high. Silver. Silver got a lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the rising 17, top of quadrant 4. Obviously still bullish and in an uptrend. Here's our 2022 low, the origin of the move. Okay, so that's silver. All right, let's take a look at USO. USO got a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the rising 17. Again, not in the upper third, not in the lower third, so that's neutral. All right, and in an uptrend. UNG still in the lower third, so it's still bearish, but we're now in an uptrend because we got a high here, which is 1368, and the high here is 1374. They made a higher high. Okay, so that is an uptrend, all right, inside the bearish lower third. Still underneath that 12-month, 10-month high anchored VWAP right there, that pink line. We'll see if they can hold the higher ground for once. All right, so there's UNG in an uptrend, but still in the bearish lower third. Okay, so that's UNG. Let's take a look at the economic package. No, let's take a look at the technicals. All right, price kind of moved up a little bit, but stayed in the lower portion most of the day. And you can see we lost participation when price went down. I like that when that happens. T21.22. Okay, so we popped out of the seller's chop zone, clear into the overbought zone, made a higher low. Also made, see a high here. There's a high here, made a higher high. All right, and a higher low right here. That's nice. And closed out the day inside the buy zone. So that's bullish on T21.22. T21.23, okay, makes a new all-time high. So that's bullish and in an uptrend up over the rising 200 SMA. That's the 15-minute chart. Now here comes the 3-bar chart. Okay, so you can see this is our April low. This was our prior all-time high, and you can see then we went off and made, so that was a prior all-time high. We went off and made a new all-time high right here. Okay, and then we had a pull back, all right, to the neckline. And then from there, we made a higher low, and we went off and bounced it to make a higher high. So this is the new all-time high made yesterday, okay, up over the flat 200 SMA. So that's top of quadrant 4. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, hasn't made any new lower lows, so it's bullish and in an uptrend. T21.23. Stinker comes down. Stinker's in an uptrend. There's a high. There's a high. They made a higher high, so they're now in an uptrend. That's nice, but they're still under the falling 200 SMA. They're still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. You can see price action gap down. They filled the gap, all right, yesterday. So that's FNGU. So you can see FNGU kind of bouncing back towards the 200. I like this, the consolidation over the prior consolidation. That's a bullish outlook. That's a bullish bias for the day. So I'd like to probably going to trade bullishly on the market. Let's take a look at the economic package, and then we'll talk about the market, how I plan to trade it today. Economic package comes out right here. Okay, on the dollar, I'm going to back out, and I'm going to squeeze it up. Okay, so this crown right up here, okay, that's our January 2025 high for the U.S. dollar index. So there's the 12-month high right there. And then we pull back, and then you can see we start making lower highs and lower lows. So we're in a downtrend, and then we break through major support right here. And we break through major support, and we consolidate underneath it in a bear flag. Now inside this bear flag, this is a daily chart. Okay, these are daily candles. This green one would be yesterday's candle, so we closed at the top of the green body, so right about there, right about 98.87, 98.88, okay? And you can see there is a high, and we made a higher high until we make a lower low. We are in a daily uptrend on the U.S. dollar index. All right, on Max Payne 684 for SPY options that expire today. All right, and there's a put to call ratio of about 0.9 puts for each call that expires today. Okay, for economic calendar, we've got GDP comes out in 10 minutes. Okay, that's the delayed report for GDP. It'll probably bounce higher. Jobless claims 8:30. All right, they come out at 8:30 today. And then we've got personal income and outlays at 10 o'clock and personal income and outlays at 10 o'clock. Both delayed reports, both coming out at the same time. 2 different weeks probably. A gas report 10:30, and then we've got a petroleum report at noon. And then there's the Fed balance sheet. And then tomorrow we've got PMI composite flash 9:45, consumer sentiment at 10, and leading indicators at 10 as well. Okay, on the earnings front, all right, for today, we've got GE Aerospace 342 billion, Procter and Gamble 337 billion, Abbott Labs 211 billion, Intel 205 billion, Intuitive Surgical almost 200 billion, 189 billion, Capital One 152 billion. Again, and some more familiar names, but nothing that's going to be market moving. As far as tomorrow go, everything's familiar names, nothing market moving. All of these are probably going to help out their sectors, but they're not enough market cap in any one of them to really produce market rips or market dips in either one of them, except for maybe Intel. For some reason, semiconductors carry a lot of weight in both QQQ and SPY. So keep an eye on Intel. That could have an effect. They are a dominant player when it comes to home personal computers, and they produce a lot of chips that go inside it. So keep an eye on Intel. That is the tech. Tech seems to dominate both QQQ and SPY market direction. I think there'll probably be more focus on Intel than there will on Procter and Gamble, GE Aerospace, Abbott Labs, Intuitive Surgical, all of those combined. All right, so people will really want to see what's going on with the semiconductors. All right, see if there's a rally coming. Now notice back here. All right, in the FNGU on the daily chart, just want to show you. Okay, this is Stinker. So Stinker hit right here, okay, the midpoint. Okay, so, and we put in a spinning top. Okay, that's kind of a reversal candle right there. And the market may rally nice and huge today. We'll see. Okay, because still got the regular market without the weighted stocks. It's making new all-time highs, all right? And now we finally get the big boys from stopping to move lower and move in the other direction. The fact that they're already consolidating over prior consolidation. So we could see a huge rip today, maybe even new all-time highs for SPY and for SPY. I don't know about QQQ, but definitely for SPY. But I'm just saying that that's a reversal candle right there. It can be a reversal candle, doesn't have to be, but it can be because it's a spinning top. That means bulls and bears agree on price here. All right, and it's at the midpoint. It's probably a nice place for price to bounce. So, and it looks like you can see it already started by retracing about a third of this candle down yesterday. So we could see a nice rip today in the market. So let's go take a look at a chart with the pre-market on. This is FNGU. You can see the consolidation over prior consolidation. That's a bullish bias. You can see kind of a inverse bullish head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline. All right, breaking that neckline. You can see price probably going to fill gap here today on FNGU. We'll see what happens. But let's take a look at SPY. Let's look at it on a clean chart. Okay, you can see we got a gap fill right here, and you got consolidation over prior consolidation. We're up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a pink line. All right, so I will be looking, all right, at these option lows right here. Probably the 6 0 DTE, 692, probably the 93 calls and the 95 calls. 693 and 695 calls. All right, so there's 695, 693. I'll probably trade, you know what, that's kind of too cheap. I want to get some movement. But who knows where it's going to be this morning. I'll take some of that 695 calls, but I'll probably be trading 691 calls right there, 33 cents, and the 693s at 13 cents. Okay, so I'll be looking to pick off the lows of those option candles. All right, so if I were to turn my trading on, okay, and I pull up this one right here. So on these option candles right here, I would try to pick off the low of the option candle, not the security candle. All right, but I want to see that 10-minute uptrend resume. All right, I want to see it continue to melt up. All right, right now they're just consolidating. I would really want to see a breakout, okay, over that consolidation. All right, which you may get in about 4 minutes with the GDP. All right, expect a breakout. We'll see what happens. All right, so there's price action there. Again, the 691 calls is probably what I'm going to be interested in. Looking for something around 30 cents or the 692s. One of these three, probably all three. I'll probably buy a basket all the way from 695 clear up to 691, buying a basket of these calls right here. If we get a breakout when GDP comes out in about 3 minutes, if we get a breakout, I'll be interested in trading a basket of calls right here for a drive up to fill gap. All right, remember gap fill's going to be right up here. All right, so I'll be looking for gap fill, and then I want to see him get up there and hold that higher ground, and then run off and make another high. All right, so I'll be trading the bottoms of these option candles right here on the 10-minute chart. That's my plan for today on QQQ and SPY. Got to see the breakout, though. Okay, I want to see a breakout to the upside. Otherwise, I'm just stuck in consolidation. So I want to see a breakout of the highs of the pre-market activity, okay? Maybe come back, rest on top of it, and then J-hook out of there. That's my plan for this morning. Now, if we come down here and we get below yesterday's post-market activity, all right, this pullback low, all right, I'm going to have to be a bear down there. All right, down there, I have to be a bear. If we get below yesterday's post-market activity, I want to be a bear underneath this. So we'll see what happens. So in other words, if they do the gap fill thing and then get lower, I'm going to have to be a bear down there. All right, but other than that, probably going to stay bullish based on the FNGU bounce. All right, so that's the plan for me for this morning. All right, everybody, I will see you all in about 35, 45 minutes, and we will open up the markets together. Again, we'll look at everything that happened and do it again. For expire win, those are 0 DTEs, Robert. Yeah, 0 DTEs. Basket, 691, all the way up to 695. Okay? A basket from 691 to 695, 0 DTEs. All right? All right, traders, that's it for me. I'll see you guys in about 35, 40, 45 minutes.